Yo, 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 what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Nate the Great coming at you with another live. You already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. To all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessings. I'll give y'all a little bit of time to tune in case these notifications ain't go out. And let me try to get myself settled in real quick, too. First things first, again, hopefully everybody having a blessed and productive Taco Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Hopefully everybody was smoothly able to get through the workday. Hopefully your kids was able to smoothly get through the school day. With what's going on in society and what's going on in the world, definitely want to make sure that your offspring are definitely, in the safest hands. So again, hopefully everybody had a great one. And now you get to enjoy your evenings. James, what's going on, my guy? Word, what's going on, my guy? Appreciate everybody that tuned in earlier this afternoon for the conversation. Definitely was a nice little dust off from last night. And if you missed it, you can catch the replay. Um, Truthfulness right there. Um, it's a nice title. It's solely what it is. Too much pressure or not enough pressure. Um, some people have pressure. Let me get this right. Everybody has some sort of pressure in life. Something that they're dealing with, something that they feel they need to get done. Uh, that's pressure. That's everyday life. The main thing to remember is to not put too much pressure on yourself because there are going to be things again that are not going to be in your control. And the only thing you really can do is just keep yourself grounded, and just keep moving forward. Think there's a problem when it comes to putting too much pressure on kids and essentially putting too much pressure on the kid. It will stunt in their growth. It could possibly cripple them. Cool gamer, what's going on? Rubies, what's going on, baby? Anita, what's going on, baby? Again, when you put too much pressure and consistent pressure on a child, just because you want them to be something so badly, you could possibly cripple them. You know, that's something that you really wouldn't want to do at all. You would want to, if anything, try to give a fair balance. You know, but bad, I had to step out for a minute, but I had to double check something. You already know when you hear banging and everything else, I'm at work. Nexie, what's going on, baby? Susanna, what's going on, baby? But again, this is the problem at hand. The problem at hand is when you know, start forcing them to do things that they don't want to do or that they feel they don't necessarily want to do. Like, don't put pressure on your kids to just jump into sports if that's something they might not, want to be involved in. If that's something that's just a hobby to them, let it stay as it is. You know, you want to put a little bit of pressure on them, but not too much. You want to always, again, the pressure, in my opinion, is what it is, giving them the motivation. That's, in my opinion, giving pressure on a kid. Okay, I feel like you're not trying to, all right, let me try to boost you up and motivate you. You would put that type of pressure on the kid, like, look, I'm motivating you to do something. Let them, find out what they're going to do. Let them make sure that that's something that they actually are interested in. And then from there, you know, you can basically save shit. Yeah, you want to put pressure on your kids as far as getting a good education. But again, don't set them up for failure because again, you're going to have some who are learning at different paces and at different speeds. And if your child happens to be one of them that's not learning as fast as you think they should be learning, there could be a problem. And instead of still trying to force certain situations, you need to weigh out an option. Because again, everybody's going to have some form of difficulty learning. I don't care how smart you claim to be, you're going to have some form of difficulty learning something. Even if it's something that's beneficial for you, you might have a hard time learning it. But you shouldn't put that much pressure on yourself. You know, if anything, you build yourself up to figure out whatever problem you need to figure out and move on from there. Never overwork your youngins neither. That's the one thing you never do. You don't overwork them. You know, when you start overworking them and you start forcing that on them, they ain't gonna want to do nothing. At some point, they might even start rebelling. It's important that a lot of you parents take the time and the opportunity again, see what your kids' interests and hobbies are, and then from there you just do what you need to do as a parent to make sure that they get to their goal. Now, again, they might want to be something that may be unreachable, but in my opinion, nothing is ever unreachable if you don't even try to reach for it. You know, they might want to do something that's realistic and that'll give you, give them value. Cool. You know, as long as they trying to do something that's going to keep them whole, that's going to give them standards, it's going to definitely give them the right form of education and even the education that they could use when they have their own family. Hey, that should be the best thing you do. You don't want your kid to be resenting you, or you don't want your kid to have any animosity towards you because you were the type of parent that you put too much pressure on them. Now, again, if you know they might have certain disabilities learning, try to help them. You know, there's nothing wrong with doing that because, again, you had the help when you was younger. Quite sure at some point you had problems and issues that you couldn't deal with or that you couldn't solve, and you had people that helped you. So again, they supposed to feel helped, loved, and they also supposed to feel like, hey, I'm doing something to make myself proud, but I'm doing something to make my parents proud. Like I said, you must put a little bit of pressure on it. When your kids are not living up to their expectations, that's a sign that you're not putting pressure on them at all. There should be a little bit of pressure of them to learn that, look, you got a lifespan, you don't know how long you're gonna be here, but you would want to try to do something good and grand while you are here. Put your best foot forward. You know, sometimes you might be pressured on if you want to punish your children or not. But I'm from this old school era of thinking in this old school way. If your kids are not living up to their expectations, if they're not doing what they supposed to be doing as a whole, then yes, you must punish them. And some parents hate doing that because they already know what's going to be the repercussions behind it. You're going to get some backlash, but at the end of the day, you're doing what's right and necessary. You should put a little pressure on your child to learn something. Your child should be learning more than just sitting on a video game console and gaming all day. Again, your kid need a balance. Serious, what's going on, baby? Your kid needs a all in all balance, whether you believe it or not. They do. One thing you can't do is reward them for bad behavior, and you definitely can't reward them when they're failing in class. See, the problem is right now, the reason why there's not too much pressure being put on the kids is because the parents ain't putting pressure at all. The parents are 9 out of 10 trying to be the kids' friends when that's not cool. Again, you could be their lending ear, you could be everything of the sort. But friend, you can never be friends with them. They are supposed to be able to open up to you and come to you, especially when times are being rough. So again, you know, it's time for you to start putting back the element of parenthood. BMF, what's going on, my guy? You already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. I'm gonna drop the link at some point in case anybody want to chime in on the topic. But I feel again, this is the problem now. You know, you're not putting an equal amount of pressure on them to actually want to learn, build, and grow. You're too busy wanting to be friends with them. There's some of you who know your kids are failing miserably, and you're not doing anything to help them. See, the pressure need to be put on parents that are not making sure that their kids are trying to succeed and elevate and grow. Because again, in the long run, you don't want to keep seeing the same old repeated patterns. You don't want to see damn near every kid out in the streets doing things that they know for a fact could give them penitentiary chances. So the pressure needs to be on those parents who need the pressure right now. Your goal is again to make sure your kid succeeds and not fail. And if you honestly don't care or love your kids that much, then you should give them up to people who will actually give them the chance, the space, and the opportunity to grow. Again, I've always felt there's no worse feeling than giving up your child, especially when you know you could be a beneficial part of your child's life. But if you ain't even got your head on straight, it doesn't make sense for your child to suffer because you don't want to let go. This is where we need to put pressure on adults to a degree too, because we know we got irresponsible adults out there. The message should be clear. If you're not going to give your chance to the kid that you're bringing into the world, let somebody else do it, at least until you're ready to do so. Another form of pressure that's becoming too much, at least for the kids now, is again things that are being presented to them when they're out and about in their communities or amongst their peers. Peer pressure is definitely one of them that, again, it will force somebody to just start getting into something because they want to be a part of it. I'm gonna say this to some people that need to hear it. You know you don't like smoking or you don't like the smell of it, don't be around it. You don't like people that drink, don't be around the people that drink. And don't let them try to give you one if you don't even settle in like that. I've been in spaces where people try to put peer pressure on people that don't do nothing. And those people help themselves strong enough to say, nope, I'm good. I'm good. That's one type of pressure that you would want to try to alleviate is peer pressure. Because your kids are definitely going to go through all sorts of peer pressures, whether they in school, whether they out in their community amongst their peoples again, or shoot, they might go through peer pressures because now they're going to sit there and look. They're going to look at what everybody else is doing. They're going to feel like they are missing out. But you let them know that if your spirit don't feel right with these things, then you follow your spirit and you follow your guidance. You are supposed to do that. You are definitely supposed to do that. The kids is going through peer pressures, even at school, prime example. Like I was saying yesterday, and like I was saying last night to a degree, the problem with some of it is, again, everybody moving too fast. These youngins are moving too fast because they watching the adults who's supposed to be giving guidance move just like how they move. And again, it's like some of these people are just reliving a second childhood that they didn't have. But once you bring kids in the world, that childhood and everything else is over. Real Spill, what's going on, baby? Happy birthday or belated birthday, baby. Shout outs to all the Dawn Pisces up in the building that rock with your boy. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed yourselves and still enjoying yourselves in another year and blessing around the sun, definitely. See, this is the thing that you got to understand. Peer pressure, the peer pressure can make you or break you. It could break you because at some point, like I said, you're gonna feel like you missing out or you're not being a part of the crowd. So now you're gonna want to try to take on something. The kids shouldn't be worried about drug use at all. I mean, I'm gonna keep it honest with you. Like I said one time before, it makes no sense for your kids to be burnouts before they even turn the age of 21. It's not fair and it's not a good look. It's not fair because again, they're not giving themselves no options to try to grow. They're not giving themselves an option to believe in themselves, to educate themselves like you supposed to be educating them. James Money, what's going on, my guy? See, like I was telling somebody, how do you expect your child to learn something when they are watching you day in and day out? They see that you sitting in the house, not doing much of nothing. You're not going out to gain nothing. So what you think they're gonna follow? What you think they're gonna do? Diamond, what's going on, baby? You gotta understand this one part right here. You know, parenthood is never gonna be easy. Trying to do the right things for your offspring is never gonna be easy. The things that will be easy will definitely give you joy and peace. You know, you want to definitely make sure that your kid is well rounded and well prepared for the world ahead of them. Spark, what's going on, baby? Again, I think that's the worst type of neglect is when you're not trying to give your children any benefit to grow, any wisdom. Again, there's some of you who have to learn that being friends with your kids will eventually be their downfall. And it's going to be your downfall because in the long run, you're going to have to point the finger at yourself. You can't point the finger at nobody else. Bob, what's going on, my guy? This is the key thing right now about pressure. See, we'll put pressure on people to do things, but we won't put pressure on those who need to do things. Let me say this the right way. We'll put pressure on people we want to do things, but we don't put pressure on the people that actually need to do things. Say this the right way. Like I was saying earlier, you're trying to put pressure on people to bring something into your communities that's going to be helpful and beneficial. But then in the same token, you're not putting pressure on those who are messing up the build and messing up the community. Again, you're going to have to pick a struggle. The main thing to remember is that your kids shouldn't have to struggle on your behalf. Give them the chance that they need. Because again, they didn't ask to be here. But since they are here, it is your job to make sure that no matter what, they are getting the best out of life. And that's the thing. You're right, Diamond, on that part right there. You know, again, it's never going to be easy, but it shouldn't be that hard neither. You should be able to say, well, you know what? Let me try to give my child the best that I could give them, or try to give them the things that I didn't get. There might be things you learned just as of recently that you didn't know. Still spread the knowledge to your kids. North Woods, what's going on, my guy? See, again, you know, if you're going to put your kid in the school system, just know what it is and know what you might have to correct, because again, they're going to give you basically, in my opinion, the truth, the lie, and they're going to give you the ugly, honest truth. Yeah, we know to a degree this system was built again to institutionalize minds, in my opinion, and also just, a form of control right now. But I've always felt that regardless to what, they need to learn the truth about things. They need to, you know. Main thing you should be striving for more than anything though, is betterment for your children. There are a lot of you who want to see your kids graduate. You want to make sure that your kids, even if they don't go to college, are at least wise enough to know what they want to do, how they plan on doing it, and what steps they need to take to do it. You know, you have to take the life lessons and the valuable lessons, good and bad, and you gotta be, you gotta be, you gotta be real with it. You gotta definitely make sure you don't sugarcoat nothing. You make sure that your kid learns the best that they can learn, even when they're young. If you have to break down certain things because they don't understand it, just take your time and break it down. Didi, what's going on, baby? But let's keep it real though. You should always remember this: you bringing a child into the world is a blessing. It's a blessing for you because you have those out there who ain't blessed enough to have their own. And I believe even if those ones was able to, they would definitely be doing the best that they could possibly do. Because again, the main thing you want to do is make sure that your children are successful in life, no matter what road they go. One could decide they want to be a police chief. One could decide they want to run for politics. One could decide they just want to get into sports because that's their option. No matter what it is they are trying to do, if they're happy with it, let them build and let them grow and let them do it successfully. Papa Will, what's going on, my guy? Hold on. Big bad dollar bill whip. Got my change. But you just got to think about that, man. Teach your kids about the things that could be beneficial with them, like LLC licenses and shoot. If you even know how to maneuver around the internet, like you internet savvy, or you could have been an internet tech yourself, teach them how to learn something and grow from that. You got to remember that the processes in life, they ain't going to be easy, but they shouldn't be that hard neither. Because if you have a goal and you have a task, you have to keep your faith strong, keep your spirit strong, and just know that no matter what, you're doing what's necessary and beneficial for you. You're doing what could be beneficial for your life expectancy and your growth. You got to put pressure on your kids not to be lazy in anything that they do. Just like you got to put pressure on yourself sometimes. You might have things that you feel you could push over until another day. No, get it done today. So that's one less thing you got to worry about tomorrow. You got to teach them responsibility. You got to teach them how to maintain and manage bills when they do get their own and when they do get on their own. Again, you got to give them a blueprint. So yeah, sometimes you're gonna have to put pressure on them. You're gonna have to show them and learn them something as far as the value of a dollar. Oh snap! It started back pouring down rain. For those in the city, try to keep yourself dry, because yeah, the weather definitely just did a 180 on your boy. But this is the thing we really have to do. You know, it's not so much as instill fear in them, but instill, education, instill anything that's going to be good for them. Like I said, teaching them self control, Teaching them that they don't necessarily have to react to everything. They don't have to give their energy to everything that could be detrimental to them, that could cause them anger and pain. Just learn to walk away and be a bigger person at times when you need to be. There's some people who can't even do that. You know, that's what in certain situations you're just gonna have to learn. The bigger person that walks away will always get the last laugh, 9 out of 10. Tanya, what's going on, baby? And again, we know you're not gonna be the best or the most perfect role models. Nobody's saying that. But you should again show them the blueprint and execute a plan that's gonna definitely help them learn, help them build their own confidence. Because again, they are gonna grow up into their own people. You know, they're not gonna be a carbon copy of you. They're gonna be their own individual person, male or female. But again, when you're not teaching them the proper balances, you're not putting pressure on them to just move right, it'll be a complete and utter failure. Teach your kids, prime example, they don't have to go out there to boost, steal, or do anything along those lines just to get what they want. As parents, you are supposed to teach them that. You are supposed to teach them that stealing of any kind is wrong. Scamming the people, stealing out of stores, even stealing from people, going in their wallets, going in their purses, doing things along those lines. It don't fit well. There will be karma and consequences to your actions. There'll be some critical ones that you wasn't expecting. Do you think you really want to see your child under the age of 12 continuously getting into chaos and misery? Because once they do hit a certain age, they will start holding your children. You forgot they still do have juvenile detention. They still have adolescent detention and holding centers. Again, you want to teach them that they don't necessarily have to take unnecessary risk, just to be successful or just to get a come up in life. Show them that it's good to work and then move on from working. You want to be your own, all right. Well, you still got to start somewhere. Unless you was blessed and you was born into money, you're gonna have to get your hands dirty and you're gonna have to put in work one way or another again, so you can start the motions. Lady Shay, what's going on, baby? You know, you always want to give them a better opportunity and an option. You definitely want to see them grow into intelligent and successful people. But you have to show them that strength and determination will be your main factors as far as moving the goalposts forward, basically. Appreciate you for dropping those links, serious baby. Oh snap! Hold on 1 second. Let me put some respect on this real quick. Oh wait, I'm back. I forgot. I'm back, baby. Appreciate you for that cash app, baby. Yeah, I forgot I put my beat back on. I was able to get my music back, baby. But you got to remember that part, though. If you really say you love and care for your kid and you want the best out of your kid, you have to give them again some form of stability. How can you teach your kids to be stable, you know, if they don't even see that you stable enough to even get yourself and keep yourself motivated? Like I said, how do you expect your kids to learn anything when you as a parent, and I'm speaking to those who need to hear it, when you as the parent are not doing anything to show them growth? There's some of you who are depending on this system to just keep giving out and dishing out benefits because you having kids. Worst form of parenting right there. Again, you shouldn't always rely on a system. Now, it's a difference if you have to because of certain situations. You might not be able to work because of your health condition, so on and so forth. Understandable, but still show them something. Even if you got to work from home, show them that you can still be a part of society and still build and grow. Partner in the background. I had to come back out here again and check something. My scalp piece hurt. But you got to just think about that. I know people right now that they can't fully work like they want to or like how they used to, and they got kids. But guess what? They found a way to still make something happen. And they did more than just going back to school and taking online classes. Hey, they actually started working from home. They found something that they could utilize, something that they can do, and something that's also going to give a blueprint to something, and they made it work. Again, your children have options. They have options because as long as you're around, they're going to always have options. You know, one thing to remember is not run your kids out the household well before time. And this is the thing. Again, you got to have some form of love and compassion to make sure they understand. Oh, yeah. It's another thing you have to teach them too. It's something that we all have to work on at some points is patience. You got to have patience with certain things. You can't rush a process. You can't rush greatness. You have to take every careful step building greatness. Marlene, what's going on, baby? That's the main thing to remember. You know, you can't rush nothing in life, but you can't waste time neither. You gotta find what your dedication in life is. You gotta find what it is that drives you and that keeps you motivated, keeps you inspirational, but also keeps you on your toes as far as consistently thinking and consistently trying to build. Raiders, what's going on, baby? Charlene, what's going on, baby? See y'all up in there. You know, if you want better results when it comes to your kids, gotta give them better results. Teach them the finer things in life. Teach them the educational value of the things that they need to be educated on. Uh-oh. I'm glad I did come out here. It is winning already done started something. But you just gotta remember that. They solely look up to you for inspiration, for guidance, for education. Shoot, even when they get old enough into adulthood, they still might come to you for advice. They still might come to you for some sort of wisdom and knowledge. That's what your job is supposed to be as a parent. You're still going to be making sure that your kids are learning and earning and doing the best, even when they become adults. Popcorn, what's going on, my guy? When you solely give up on your children, that's the worst feeling. You gotta think about those who coming from certain backgrounds, and just imagine how they feel to know that they don't have nobody to actually help them get structured, you know, show them discipline, possibilities on what could be. It's hurtful. You definitely don't want to see um, another statistic on the streets. You definitely don't want to see another number in the streets as well, neither. Again, you need to show form of love, compassion, but also discipline and education. It is time for some of y'all to put pressure on your kids to start being more respectful, start having more dignity and class about themselves. And it could go even down to the simplest little thing. Prime example. There's some of you who need to encourage your kids, especially your young men out there, to start pulling their pants up. Nobody's going to take you serious, and nobody's going to want to be bothered with you. Oh, yeah, and guess what? You're going to have people who, at some point, they're just going to start judging. They're going to start making an overall generalization on things. And it don't even have to be true. Give them, do you give them peace and wisdom, or do you give them hell and destruction? You know, no, my bad, Raiders. I had to come lock up an area that I ain't even know was still unlocked. Son of a. My bad for the wind in the background too, y'all. You already know what it is. Me having to do something, but nonetheless, this is what I got to do. But don't allow your kids to crash out and drown before time. You gotta teach them how to swim in life, basically. Because yeah, when they get into this big old world that we get into, it's a big pool. It's a big ocean. And if you're not knowing how to swim, float, or even get yourself out of the rip currents, you're gonna drown. No, 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 you good, you good. Like I told you, I had to lock something up just now, but I'm about to be done with this in a second and run back inside, y'all. But this is what I'm saying though. The world around you is a big atmosphere. What are you going to put in that atmosphere that's going to bring growth, positivity, and what's going to bring you the structure that you're going to need? But all in all, though, you got to still care, then. And yes, you must care for yours because nobody else will. If you are essentially setting your kids out into the world without any type of wisdom, shoot, any type of positive push, They're gonna fall to the wolves immediately. They're gonna definitely fall. You gotta teach them everything. You have to teach them how to incorporate the right people in their life. You gotta teach them that even when things look like it could be rough and your back is against the wall, you still have time and opportunity to make something happen. Don't give up because it's not happening as fast as you want it to. Again, don't rush the process. You have to take careful steps when you're growing and building. And even when you're trying to mold your kids, you still got to make sure it's an even balance. Because again, essentially, what's more important? It's a question that you definitely need to ask. Again, there's some of you parents, and I'm gonna say that even to you young ones or you new ones. Your goal at hand is to make sure that your child grows up. Make sure that your child is not another one in the cemetery, and also make sure that your child is not another one in the penitentiary. Don't need to take those chances. Again, there's some of you parents who are not doing and living up to your aspects of parents. That's why I said there's some people that, yeah, they need to put pressure on. Because if you're not doing anything at all, what does that essentially say about you? You know, how can you teach your kids to be their own individual people when they get into adulthood? How can they learn how to teach and build and grow amongst those when you ain't giving them nothing? You gotta remember, when they are not doing everything the right way, it's going to definitely not look right. It's going to definitely sit wrong in your spirit because you know there could be more given. Even down to the simplest things, reading to them. And I'm going to say when they young, read to them. Doesn't matter if it's a bedtime story or not, read something to them. And actually sit down and read with them and show them what you're reading. See, that's the one thing I could say, and I'm going to use myself as a prime example. My mom used to read me damn near every book when I was young. And some of them times, I was actually sitting up with her, looking at the pages she was reading to make sure that's what she was reading. Looney, what's going on, my guy? Give me 1 second, y'all. I feel this is going to be a problem here, baby. Oh, I got to lock up something else, too. Shit. My bad. Hey. I had to lock something else up, too. God damn it. Hey, I might have to make a complaint in the morning. Yeah. See, prime example. If you're going to work for somebody, right? Even if it's for, let's say, a couple years period, if you decide you're going to move on to something bigger and better, who's to stop you from doing so? You know, if you know you have the best opportunities to even succeed in a new venture that you're trying to get into, make sure that everything is accounted for. Make sure you got all the critical tools and information you're going to need. So when you move forward, you don't have to worry about no regrets. You don't have to worry about what ifs. Just know that you move from one space to the next because that's the part of growth and elevation. You know, when you don't put pressure on your kids, at least a little bit of pressure to get to that good point in life, they're going to never want to be nothing in life. They're just going to take things for what it is, and that's it. And see, and then we'll get the same old thing we got last time. We'll keep getting people pointing fingers of why they're not successful, why they not where they need to be at. But essentially, it will land on you, the parent. You know, you don't have to be a perfect parent. Shoot. But you should be a parent regardless. I don't believe in such thing as perfect anything. Only thing I ever believed in was perfect attendance. And shoot, you barely even get perfect attendance now. So, you know, just think about what's being said right there. No matter what happens in life, guess what? When it's all said and done, the ball lies on you, the parent. So take that time and opportunity, and again, try to show them something better. Show them something outside of shortcuts. Because there's some of you who are teaching your kids that the only value they're gonna have is just taking shortcuts in life. Nah, you have to get out and put in the work regardless. You know? And another thing that you need to teach them as parents is teach them to accept failure. See, again, I'm bringing that back up because there are some people who will not do that. Like I said, teach your kids that it's all right to fail. You might fail a test today. Like I said earlier, you might fail a test today, but you can have another one tomorrow and you can ace that sucker. And if half of the stuff was already stuff that was covered on the first time, hey, should be no reason you don't pass. Sorry, but I feel like in this era of day, besides the parents just being friends, the parents have become lazy. Not all, but those who are definitely watching their kids suffer and not doing nothing, they got lazy. I also believe that they became fearful. The reason why I say they became fearful is because if they know for a fact they didn't implement and institute the things they should have when they was younger, they're not going to want to take heed or listen to reason when they get older. That's why I say you need to teach them the value of respect, teach them the value of hard work, loyalty, discipline, all of that, self control. Again, your kids shouldn't be doing things just because they want to follow the crowd. They shouldn't be doing things because they feel they are forced to do so. And you need to sit down and have talks with your kids, especially about drug use. Because if you don't want your kids out there being the next junkie, you don't want them being in rehab or possibly overdosing, you need to sit down and have these important conversations with them. Yes, you must put some pressure on them, but not too much. Because again, your kids are going to come through all sorts of peer pressures in life. Some are going to give a good, valuable lesson, and some it might shape their minds the wrong way, depending on what side of the parameter they end up on. You don't want your kids to be out here being dope fiends. Teach them that the drugs that some of these people are using, they ain't good for you and they have dire consequences behind it. I would also tell them or tell you to again watch out. See, there's some of you who your kids might be dipping and dabbing. And if you feel so, guess what? You need to get them the help they need now. If you see that your kid is looking all spaced out and it's not coming from the marijuana, you just see they looking spaced out and looking lost in the sauce, you need to sit down and have a real talk with them. Facts. You ain't say nothing wrong there, Spark. Nothing at all. Encourage them, motivate them, you know, and still be in their corner. Now, again, not everybody kid is going to be perfect. You're going to have those who have multiple kids, and maybe one or two of them might not be where they should be at. That still don't mean you don't still give them positivity in some sort of form or a plan to do something. And again, if you know your kids are suffering from drug habits, you as a parent, you need to get them help. Send them to rehab. If it's not that critical yet, sit down and again have a talk and a conversation with them. Again, give them the important lessons that are needed. Teach them that these drugs that you trying to be part of taking, they will have dire consequences. These type of drugs will mess your brain up. They'll mess your thinking patterns up. They can mess your body up. Do you really want to be a victim in the hospital because you almost overdosed and lost your life? I don't think you would want to. Again, stop taking unnecessary risk when it comes to your life and your safety. That's another thing you need to teach them. You know, you have to build a relationship with your kids, but you also have to make sure that that's a strong, pure relationship to where they can always come to you and talk to you. And you can't always try to be friends with them. You can't. You can sit down and talk with them, sit down and have an open ear and listen to them. But you can't treat them like friends. You know, and you got to be careful. And then again, as parents, you better start teaching your kids because guess what? We have different drugs out right now that are taking people out as we speak. Let's not forget, we still got a fentanyl habit or a fentanyl crisis on the rise in the United States. You got to be careful. Fentanyl, being exposed to it too long, could take you out. Prolonged use of it could take you out. It would be your luck you get a bad batch of something and that be your last batch of anything. You gotta watch out who you dealing with. You gotta make sure that your friends are not getting into things that is definitely harming them. And if they really your friends, try to get them help. But if they refuse to help, you already know off the rip that they are not your friends. Or that they are not going to want to be friends right now. And you can't be friends with somebody that you can't trust. You can't be friends with somebody that you know is on drugs and they possibly could be thieves. Nah, you gotta keep an open eye out. You know, it only take one time for you to get hooked onto a specific drug, and you might not ever get clean from that drug. And when you do start getting clean from it, you can have serious, if not fatal consequences. Again, prime example: the excessive use of promethazine and lean, cough syrups. If it's not given to you by your doctors, if you're not recommended to take it, or if it's not for a light cold and flu, don't be using that. Don't be mixing that with different stuff. Some of y'all mixing it with soda, you mixing it with juice, you mixing it with whatever. And it's not doing good for your body at all. There was a couple people again who lost their lives early that ended up being a part of that 27 club. Didn't make it far because you been so used to doing something so long, and now all of a sudden you stop doing it, and it done shut your body down. Yeah, well, we ain't talking about the grown ups, Lady Shay. We talking about the kids. But again, you got to think about it. Your real friends, your real confidants, whatever you want to call them, your road dogs, however, Those real people that actually love and care for you, they're gonna let you know when you slipping. They're gonna let you know that you need to get the help possible. They might even try to help them. They might even try to help you themselves. And if they are gonna help you, you need to accept the help, especially if you know you could definitely need it. Cause shouldn't nobody ever be strung out on something they ain't need to be strung out on in the first place. I ain't messing with you, lady. Shake on about your business. It's in the corner, damn it. Hold on, I'm gonna drop the link in case anybody want to chime in though. I'm sorry, but it's bad enough that you got certain things that are promoting excessive drug use, right? But at the same token, you gotta be able to counteract that. Because again, your kids' lives are at stake. Now, we'll say that it's always music that does it, and that gives the wrong message. To some degree, the music does give a wrong message, at least now, because everything is promotion of drug use, promotion of underage sex, so on and so forth. But it's not so much as the music, it's not so much as what you see on social media. It is exactly what you're seeing in society. Again, you don't want your kid to be placed in a situation. You definitely want the best outcome from them. So for those who think their kids might be strung on or strung out on something, or if you think they possibly could be using something, sit down, talk with them. Yes, you still got to discipline them, but sit down and talk with them and find out what's going on and find out the real reasons why and how you could fix what's been damaged so far. Because some things that get damaged, they could be fixed. But once the damage is too big, it ain't no repairing. Mary, what's going on, baby? But that's the thing, though, too. You right, Charlene, and that's one thing too. Again, you got to educate your kid. You have to educate them on everything. Medications, whether they over the counter or they street farms, don't matter. You have to show them what to look out for, what to expect, and also show them the side effects. You see how prime example in the schools they was giving us sex education and showing us the differences with diseases and stuff like that. Whatever you didn't learn in school, I'm quite sure your parent sat down and let you learn. I learned both ways. I learned both ways about diseases and stuff like that, especially on that sexual nature. Made me say from when I was young, up, strap it up. So why not do the same thing when it comes to drugs? Why not sit there and really have an in-depth conversation with them and really give them knowledge and show them what they need to learn? Because again, once they get hooked on certain drugs, there is no coming back. Your child is basically lost to the world. There's some people who are strung out on dope. There's some people who are, I can honestly say, strung out on crack. Like they strung out on anything else that they got their hands on. They could be doing something better for themselves and they not. Didn't I tell y'all a while back this girl was out here? Like I said, my mom basically tutored her and watched her grow up. And well before my mom's thought about passing, my mom's heart hurt to a degree because this girl had potential. She was smart as all hell. Turn around, you know, you had a child, which should have been even more motivation for you to stay in a certain place. You had three more behind it, and then it's like after that, you let yourself go to the streets, hanging with the wrong people, being amongst the wrong people. Again, peer pressure, or just wanting to see what the whole thing is about. That curiosity killed the cat. Yeah, that's more than just a meaning. That's actual factuals right there. There's some people who end up setting themselves up because they so curious to see what the whole thing is about. Again, I don't want to be that curious. If I'm seeing that somebody is leaning backwards like they about to fall out and bust their head open or lean forward in the wrong type of manner, like they about to still hurt themselves, I don't want it. I don't think no kid should want that. No kid should ever, and I mean ever, think to be on these type of drugs and think that there's not going to be consequences behind it. I can remember one kid. Oh, and that's another thing. You have to teach them. Don't laugh and poke at people when they down and out. Because some of these people that are down and out won't be down and out for long. There are some people who they might have been the worst type of drug addicts, junkies, and everything else, right? And all they had was an epiphany and a life lesson, and they changed their life. And what happened to those kids that was laughing and poking fun and even, kicking them while they was there? Those same ones are now out on the streets doing the same exact thing they was laughing at this person for doing. Teach them that you don't kick people when they down and out. You definitely don't make fun of people and you don't judge them. There are some people who can't help the fact that they are strung out. But again, you know, you have to teach them that if you are put on, if you want to put on and you want to do whatever, yeah, consequences ain't gonna be good for you. Oh, you wanna use these drugs? Go ahead. But when you use these drugs, just remember they will mess you up one way or another. Danielle, what's going on, baby? You already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. And if y'all new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. The one thing you don't want to do as a parent is put too much pressure on your kid to where they do run to drugs or they do rebel against you. Because that's going to be a problem left and right. The critical things in life that you need to take heed to them and definitely make sure, that it doesn't bite you in the long run. You want your kid to reach their fullest potential and their highest levels in life. But they're not going to be able to do so if you're not sitting down having these talks with them. And again, as parents, you're going to have some talks. Those talks might be uncomfortable, but those talks are going to be necessary. Because again, when you miss out on key elements, that will be the beginning of the destruction. I hear you, Mary. And that's what I'm saying. Some people are going to have different epiphanies or different situations in life, especially those who are doing bad. Because again, they'll say once a drug addict, always a drug addict. That's false. That's a falsehood that shouldn't be taught. Because there's people who have been on the heaviest of drugs, but they were determined to get themselves off of it at all costs, and they did. Some still had to suffer some harsh side effects from those drugs they were taking. But nonetheless, once they even got past that, they got back to living life carefree. They got back to living life comfortably. They got back to being a norm in society. There are people who have been drug addicts. They turned themselves around, and they're right now they sitting in good positions, whether they working for somebody or they working for themselves. Some people took the initiative and said, in order for me not to go back to the streets, I'm going to do anything possible to make sure I stay away from it. If I got to eliminate friends because they ain't trying to get it together, so be it. If I got to eliminate family because they don't believe in me or because they not doing what's necessary to try to, if they don't even believe that I could do it, so be it. You got to give yourself some peace of mind and peace of spirit in order to keep growing and building. You know, sometimes you're going to be comfortable even in an uncomfortable situation. An uncomfortable situation could be an uncomfortable talk you have with your child, but you have to learn to be comfortable within that realms of having that talk. You can't allow your aggressions or you can't allow your personal feelings to override or even spew any type of negative vibes in the air. You want to sit down with them and actually have a great talk with them. Again, you show them that you do love and care for them. And again, it doesn't mean be brash and be aggressive. No. Show them that you actually love them, care for them, you want them to be their best. And then you work from there. That's how you still keep a structure going when it comes to parent and child. Parents and children should be able to come to each other and talk. And not talk about everything, but talk about the things that are necessary and important. You know? Another thing y'all have to do and put pressure on, you don't want to be a grandmother before a certain age, especially some of you young parents now. You don't want to be a grandparent before you 40 or even 45. You better start putting the pressure on your kids to do right, move right. If you're going to be active, be safe. And you shouldn't even think about being active. You should be focused on getting your education. You should be focusing on building yourself. Some of you young men out there, you have to stop thinking with your hormones. You have to stop thinking with your lower extremities and start thinking with your brain. You need time to build yourself into something. How can you bring anything into the world if you're not even prepared to take care of yourself? That's why parents need to really sit down and have these talks with these kids, man. How they say babies having babies is true. There's something that's been going on throughout the course of history, but it wasn't at a big number like it is now. Again, there's some of you who have gotten too comfortable and gotten too lazy to say, you know what, I gotta implement the right structure. I gotta do this. It's just, oh, let my child learn by themselves. Your child shouldn't learn certain things on their own. Certain things you still have to give them guidance and education on. The things they're going to learn themselves is things that they will eventually take with them into the future. You know, I believe that part right there. If your children got questions, like I was saying earlier, your children got questions on things, even if it's things you ain't comfortable talking about with them right now, you still got to sit down and talk with them. You don't withhold anything, and you definitely don't lie to them, especially if they are ready to have these conversations. Now, sometimes they might ask questions, but they probably really don't want to go deep into it. But when they do bring something to the forefront and they willing to sit down and listen, educate. You forgot your kids are around other kids who are coming from different backgrounds, different situations. Your son or your daughter might have a friend that could be young and pregnant. Now, guess what's going to happen? At some point, they're going to ask you questions about that. And when they do, you really have to sit down and prepare for that huge talk because it will be necessary. It will definitely give them something to think about. Do I really want to bring life into the world knowing I can't even take care of my own self? Or do I want to try to build myself into something before I decide to have my family? Teach them to work. Teach them to work for anything that they want to in life and work the best way they can work. And I ain't talking about work just as far as working a job and that working at it. No, no, no. Just teach them how to maintain work because they're going to still have to put in work no matter what it is they're doing. Your child wants to, prime example, work with child care services and stuff like that in any way, shape, or form. They got to learn and they got to put in the work. It's not going to be handed to them, you know. And that's the one thing you have to remind them too. Not everything in life is going to be handed to you on a silver spoon. You have to get out there and do something. And if you want to be part of something, you got to find exactly what you want to be a part of. You want to be a part of successful entrepreneurs and everything else. You want to put yourself at least in that category, in that light. You need to be around people who are motivated, whether they up and coming or they already established. Again, you need to teach your kids the simple values in life that are going to definitely help them grow into better adults. You know, you can't be too strict on your kids, but you can't be too soft on them either. The minute you give them an inch, they'll take a whole mile. So, again, you have to give a balance. You have to be able to sit down and listen and actually understand what's going on. And then from there, you try to give your best input on what you need to give the best input on. Again, it is solely up to you, the parent. There's some people right now who are kicking themselves because I just heard somebody had a whole disagreement after the live was over earlier. I wasn't eavesdropping, especially when you was that loud about it. You know, it was one parent trying to say, I don't believe this. I done birthed 3 kids and only one of them actually doing something. The other two ain't doing shit with their life, yada, yada, yada. And then somebody dropped the ball on them. Wait a minute. First things first, you favored that oldest child more than anything. You put that child on a pedestal and left the other two just to hang like fruit. You can't get mad because both of them ain't doing something they should be doing. That's your fault. That's your fault for just showing love to one and not showing love to all of them equally. When he said that, I walked away because I already knew what was coming behind that. Walked right away from that because she couldn't say nothing after that because apparently what was said was true. You put your oldest child above everything, and you forgot you still had 2 other children coming behind. You still have to give an equal amount of love, respect, education, so this way they all can find something to do in life. You can't, and I'm gonna say this again, you can't avoid certain talks in life. You can't avoid it. Not gonna be able to. And the reason why you're not gonna be able to is because if you do, your child will suffer worse than anything. If you're not teaching your kids about responsibilities, if you're not teaching them about protecting themselves at all costs, they ain't gonna learn it. You know, you gotta raise your kids all the same. All the same. It can't be you giving more love to one than the other. No, 'cause that's not the way it works. That's definitely not the way it works. Nobody's gonna be able to educate your kid more than you are. And if you want your kid to be at the highest values in life, gotta teach them the greatest values and the greatest lessons in life. The greatest lessons in life is to remember, you know, just because you failed at something That don't mean you're gonna fail at everything. Just because one thing didn't work out for you right away, that don't mean it still can't work out for you at some point. If you was trying to do something in the beginning and it didn't work, hey, when it's time or when it's time for it to fall back in place, it will. Again, you got to sit down and have these talks when needed. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm catching up with the chat. Hold on. Make sure I didn't miss nothing. You want to have a dialogue with your kids. You want them again to be open and honest. You shouldn't have to worry about your kids lying to you or holding stuff back. Again, build a structure the way your kids are going to be comfortable enough to talk to you. You have to remember that again, they're going to already go through enough pressures in life, but it shouldn't be a pressure or a hassle for them to talk to you. So, parents, again, start getting on board with the things that you need to get on board with in order to shape the minds of those ones that you are bringing into the world. In order to shape their minds and keep their minds focused and stable, you have to give them that. You have to focus on them and you have to be stable when you're talking with them. Not everything in life is going to be easy, but it shouldn't be hard neither. And again, there's certain things that you're not going to be able to dodge, and you definitely are going to have to face head on. Again, it is solely about what you teach them and what you give them. You want to teach them the best possible things in life, teach them the right way. Again, show them discipline. Self discipline and self strength, that's definitely needed in today's society. And I would say, even to some of you youth out there, you know what peer pressure is. You've been around it. If you have people around you who are trying to get you to smoke, drink, party, and do everything else that you know you ain't really trying to do or be a part of, get away from it. You got kids or you got friends who are possibly doing pills and everything else along those lines, and you see the side effects, you see how they move, you see how they act. Get away from that. Teach them that again, self respect, dignity, and value will take you long ways in life. And they'll definitely make you more successful. Can't give up on yourself. Not supposed to. But parents, you ain't supposed to give up on them either. Because again, you are their rock. You are their guiding light. You are their inspiration. You are their inspiration from the time that they babies. When they sitting up looking at you and they growing and bonding with them, yeah, you are basically their protection right now. And when they are getting of age, you're still going to be their protection. Parents' job is never done even to adulthood. The kids might have to run back home for specific reasons. And if they do, hey, you welcome them with open arms. You know, you don't judge or criticize. Prime example, if your kid might have lost their apartment because they couldn't afford or couldn't keep everything up. And they might have to come back and regroup. Hey, if they are still working and doing something that they need to be doing, you welcome them back with open arms. We all are going to take a fall in life, right? It's about how we get up from that fall and how long we stay on the ground. If we stay on the ground too long, we'll miss out on the traction in life. But if we get up right away and get back to what we're doing, hey, anything is possible. Teach them. Teach them all aspects and parameters of life. Teach them that growth doesn't come easy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be hard either. You learn from certain experiences, you take the lessons out of that, and you make sure that you don't make no unnecessary mistakes moving forward. You gotta teach them everything. You shouldn't leave nothing out you shouldn't have to. And the things that you are going to leave out right now, just make sure that somewhere down the road you do visit them again. I don't think that's too much to ask. I don't think that's too much that should be asked of. You can't look your kids in the eyes and say, I love you and I'm going to do everything for you, but you're not willing to educate them. You're not willing to listen to them when they need to be listened to, not willing to reason sometimes. This is what I'm saying all in all, though. You have to love and respect yourself as adults so you can learn to love and respect the greatest blessings in life. And the greatest blessings in life are the ones that you created. And why let them fail? Why let them be the next casualty? Give them a fair opportunity in life. You do what you possibly can do. And once they get into adulthood, however they decide to move, hey, if they decide to move in the right light, you keep guiding them. You keep trying to love them and do the best that you can do for them. If they're not going to move in the best lights, most you can do is still have love for them, but you just gotta slightly move away. But when your kids do need help and they crying for help, even into adulthood, when they all crying for help in the best light, don't turn your backs on them. Ladies, what's going on, baby? No doubt, sis. Appreciate you, baby. Jewel, what's going on, baby? See, again, you're gonna have to give them structure. You're gonna have to give them everything necessary for them to be the best in life. The hell is this fool doing now? It's always one. Give me 1 second. I knew it. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Commander, what's going on, baby? Moo moo. Again, take heed to what's being said today.
Parenting ain't easy, but it shouldn't be a hard task. You're gonna deal with the day and day struggles, just like your kids are gonna deal with the day and day struggles and peer pressures. But again, you have to educate them and keep them whole. And definitely make sure that the things that you are incorporating in their life stays with them. You giving them knowledge and wisdom on something, especially when it comes to drug use, please make sure that you keep reiterating and make sure that you keep it on. Kev, what's going on, my guy? Again, when your kid doesn't make it, or when your kid doesn't live to the fullest expectations, who could you possibly blame? Can't blame them if you didn't give them a solid chance or an option to build and grow in the first place. Like it was going on, baby. Been a minute, sis. Hope all is well with you. See, it's not hard again to open up your heart, open up your minds, and open up your ears to the things you need to, especially when it is dealing with your youth. And again, whether you parents, guardians, or anything of the sort, you still have to make sure that these youngins are learning something for the better and not for the worse. It's just simple common grounds right now. If your children are failing, then you failing. You're failing yourself as a parent because you're not doing what's necessary. And then you're failing them because, again, you're not giving them any structure and balance. You have to remember that is the main thing you need in life, structure and balance. You got to have a balanced head, and you definitely need to keep yourself structured in your goals in life. And if you don't want to be trying to point fingers at anybody else for your children's failures and mishaps, then you better get on board and do what's necessary. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, you're definitely going to have some stressful ones. But again, worst type of neglect is letting your children fail in society and fail in life. Yes, you must put the right amount of pressure on them so they could learn from experience, but they could also learn that what you are doing is setting the grounds for a great foundation in life. You also need to teach them this humility and humbleness. Willis, what's going on, my guy? You know, you want the best product in life. The best product is your kids. You want your kids to produce bare fruits, peace, and prosperity. Give them the blueprint and show them how to do it. No matter how they decide to move in life on a good tip, as long as it's giving them a balance, and as long as it's making them happy. You also have to teach them that you shouldn't just be doing stuff simply for the money. I have to teach them that. In life, money is going to come and go. One thing that will remain forever is debt, bills, and things that you ain't prepared for. So if you ain't prepared for them,
You better start getting prepared for them now. The link is pinned in case anybody want to chime in on the conversation. Just wanted to bounce some things off again because I feel this is something that some of these parents need to hear right now. Now, again, it's never going to be easy, but the road to greatness, it does start with you, the parent. You have to teach the greatest lessons. Again, making sure that you're not missing out on any key information that could poke holes in your structure. If you already got a strong structure with your child, you want to make sure that it is cemented even further. It is just something to think about for the night. Oh, and for those who didn't see the community wall, definitely check the community wall. Your boy is on Clapper now, and yeah, I'm gonna try to test drive that sucker tomorrow. But it looked like it's something already that you could deal with, you know. Before I get into my calm stages of this live, again, I do want to say this, parents, you have to do better. And I ain't saying all parents. I'm talking to the parents that need to hear this even as a motivation. You have to do better and you have to continue to do better if you want your kids to be better. Again, if they are looking up to you, they can't see you quitting the job every so often that you get a chance. Show them that they have to work hard if they want to move forward in life, and no matter it is what they trying to do, they have to start from somewhere. That silver spoon ain't there for everybody. That silver platter ain't there for everybody. So again, you have to make things work. Give your kid the structure, man. Because what's more important, structure or destruction? I'll leave that question for you to answer yourselves. Nonetheless, this is just a good conversation all in all. Um, I do want to say prayers to the family that needs to hear this right now. Apparently, a 3-year-old shot themselves. Stuff you don't want to hear. Um, I'm gonna say this tonight too. Um, yeah, I'm going right back to it again for you parents who have weapons in the house. You have to make sure that your weapon is stashed away properly at all costs. Nobody should get hands on your weapon, even if you are licensed to carry it and protect your home and protect yourself. You have to put those weapons away from them kids, especially the toddlers. That baby is only 3 years old. Baby accidentally shot themselves playing with the gun. That's why I'm saying parenting is not an easy job. But in that same token, you should have at least enough smarts and education to know. If you're going to have a weapon in the house, you need to be fully trained on it and you still need to hide it. And you still have to give education too when it's needed. How was that child able to shoot themselves? Where was the parent at? I'm going to look into that story, man. It's crazy, man. Yeah, James, because that's something that popped on my news feed. And I honestly thought it was in the city because I ain't gonna lie to you, we've had situations like that happen in the city too. Parents being careless, leaving weapons in the house, and these kids are harming themselves. Like I said, lock your guns up. If you must have a weapon in the house, lock it up. Your kids should not be getting hold of your gun. Look how many incidents we have had as far as parents not being more vigilant and more on point with what's going on. A child done took the gun to school or a child done took the gun outside and done did something. Again, when that happens, the only fingers that you're going to be able to point to is yourself. If something happens to your kid, God forbid, you can't blame nobody but yourself. You can't point the finger. You can't even get mad at the child at hand. No, you must get mad at yourself because you should have did a better job making sure that these type of weapons are away from your kids. I'm not. I'm not sure about that one. I think that girl actually passed away, man, and that's what I'm saying. I'm giving healing prayers to those who need it because again, we've had people who've lost their lives behind that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Mary, that we was talking about that a while. We was talking about that too. This is what I'm saying. As parents, you have to understand that there's just some things you cannot allow your children to be a part of or be a victim of. Your children shouldn't be victims of gun violence. They shouldn't be victims because they harmed themselves playing around with your weapons, knives, guns, whatever. First of all, your gun, even if it still won't be loaded, should be somewhere safe to where you have visuals on where it's at all times. And if you think something is gone or missing, do your research. Again, this is the saddest thing. Again, 3 years old. These toddlers play around with stuff. These toddlers are busy bodies. They say terrible twos, and in my opinion, it's curiosity threes because they more curious now. They're gonna definitely grab hold to something, and they're gonna think it's some sort of toy to play with. Oh yeah, I heard about that too, Mary. I heard about that too. Definitely, that's the saddest thing too. You gotta teach your kids too to be careful and who they choose as friends, and you also gotta be wary of who you choose as friends, even when you're adults. And honestly, I feel that's jealousy right there. If that was the case I was hearing about in Atlanta, yeah, that's crazy. So I'm saying, even nowadays, and for some of you young adults out there, be mindful. If your friends really got your back, they ain't gonna make sure they're gonna make sure that you go back home in peace. No doubt, Spark. Appreciate you, baby. I ain't gonna hold y'all too crazy neither. At some point, I got to get focused on focused. But again, parents, especially those with weapons in the house, do your best to make sure your kid does not become the next victim. Because again, when it's all said and done, the pressure is going to lie on you and nobody else. The fingers are going to point at you. No matter how you try to deflect, it's going to point to you. Chill Town, what's going on, my guy? No, you know what the problem is, Commander? In this situation right here, that little 3-year old didn't deserve to lose her life. Especially if she was doing what most kids are doing at that age, playing, learning, and exploring. Parents are going to have to be more wise and more careful in what they do, what they present in their households, even if it is a weapon. And if you're going to educate, and if you're going to keep something in the house that could be dangerous, you need to educate everybody in the family on what you have, what's in your possession. And if a situation happens where you have to use it to defend yourself, then you use it to defend yourself. If it's a last resort. Again, gotta teach education on all levels, even when it come down to this. Another spirit gone. Another another one that we'll never know if they, or, they could have been something successful in life or not. We'll never know because of the carelessness of the parents. I don't care if you got your gun in the car, crib, whatever. It should be where only you can reach it, not your kids, and not your significant other or anybody else that could be hurt behind. And again, if you are going to bring these type of things into your household, you need to give clear education and awareness on the stuff. Appreciate you, Tilton. You already know, my guy. See, I'm sorry, y'all. And I didn't even want to bring this up, but it popped up on my news feed, and I thought I had to bring this up again. Because, again, solely, you as a parent have to remember the one thing outside of education and outside of just raising your kids. You have to remember that your kids still need protection at all costs, even when they're young. How are you protecting them when you're allowing weapons to be within reach of them? Again, another soul lost, and we'll never know what they'll become or what they could have became. We shouldn't keep hearing stories like that. Children offing themselves because of the negligence of parents. When you are your children's downfall at that expense, you can't come back from that. That's something that's going to live with you forever. Your child was lost because of your negligence, because of your ignorance. Can't blame nobody else but yourself. And even if you are in areas where it is dangerous and you might have to do things again to protect yourself and protect your family, again, it should never be a situation where your family is still getting harmed. L Blue, what's going on, baby? You take these stories for what it is. You take them as life lessons. That right there is going to be a harsh life lesson that those parents learn. And it's sad it had to come at the cost of one of the kids. But still, nonetheless, that's a life lesson they're going to have to bear with and they're going to have to deal with. Another thing I seen, even though I think it was a training video, but we have had situations like this too. Parents that have pools, jacuzzis, and all of that stuff, make sure your toddlers are not running around unattended. I watched a video of a baby running by the pool. The brother was sitting in there, brother doing what they've been doing, just doing whatever. The minute that child fell in the water, immediately he called his father. His father dropped everything he was doing, jumped in that pool, and got that baby just in time. Now, had it would have been delayed reactions, that would have been another child gone because of negligence. Again, you have to have parental vision and supervision over your kids. And again, I'm not trying to trigger nobody. If y'all feel this is going to trigger you, I do apologize. But this is something that's real, and I speak from the soul, and y'all know this already. I don't hold no punches when it comes to bringing out what needs to be brought out. That right there needs to be brought out. There are some of y'all who are not paying attention to your kids to the point where your kids end up meeting their demise too early. If you claim you love and care for your kids, and you claim you're willing to do anything to protect your kids, that means actually keeping your eyes on them at all times when they are young. Now, again, lucky that the brother informed the father, and the father got in that pool right in time as it happened. But anything longer than that, that child would have been gone. I know a person who lost their child because of that. They was out at a pool party or whatever. Everybody came back to go upstairs, change and do whatever. The young boy went downstairs to, I believe, grab something out the refrigerator, and the boy never came back upstairs. The boy decided to go out by the pool area. And that boy lost his life tragically because nobody was around to save him and protect him. See, again, when these kids are young like that, you have to be careful and you have to keep your eyes open because anything is liable to happen. And when it does happen, the fingers are going to be pointed right at you, the parent, or the guardians, whoever that child was around when it happens. Fingers will be pointed at you. Y'all remember a couple months back, I told y'all about somebody drowning out here because they wasn't paying attention to their kids. They kids done got on the rocks, and knowing how it is when the high tides is up, child got lost. You never leave your kids unattended for anything. That's something you should remember, or that you should put into your mind, whether you new parents or if you reoccurring parents, basically. Don't leave your kids unattended with nothing. Yeah, I heard about that too. Matter of fact, James brought that up the other day, Anita. And again, appreciate you for dropping those links. Serious, baby. Working hard and these paramedics running up and down the block, baby. And that's the thing too. You can't leave them in areas where they could fall to danger. A beach, pool, anything along those lines. Yeah, it's supposed to be fun, but it could also be dangerous. It's fun because you're supposed to be cooling off, you're supposed to be enjoying yourself, getting wet and everything else, and having fun. But it's also dangerous when you left unattended, especially if you don't know how to swim. And I would advise you parents to teach your kids how to swim, even at young ages. My mom's had me swim before I was 7 years old, from the floaties to everything else. And that's something that you parents need to teach too. If you're gonna bring your kids out, you need to teach them how to swim. Just in case if they do get caught in a situation. At least they know how to float, they know how to go against the current or go with the current, so on and so forth. So they can get themselves to some sort of safety. And this is my all in all honest opinion. Um, Prime example with the beaches and the pools, prime example. If there's no lifeguard on duty or somebody there that's, experienced in swimming and dealing with these situations, don't leave your kids in a messed up situation. Yeah, because think about it. The beaches, some of these beaches are different. And especially during the wintertime. Now think about it. In certain areas, you're gonna get sinkholes. You're gonna get, you're gonna probably get quicksand in certain situations. So again, that's a problem right there. You know how to dig, but you also make sure you don't dig yourself in a part where you can't get yourself out of. I know some of y'all like to do sand castles or you like to bury yourselves in the sand and stuff like that, but in the same token, you got to be mindful of where you digging at and how much you digging up. You dig up the wrong area, it can set you up for something bad. Again, don't leave your kids unattended. Yeah, you're right, El Blue. You are definitely right on that part. And there's all these. It's not just the beaches in New York State. That's beaches anywhere around the world. You know, you got to be careful where you digging at, how much you digging up, and you got to make sure that again, even if you got your young ones with you, that you are keeping eyes and ears out at all times. It'd be your luck. Your toddler decides to run in the water while you wasn't paying attention, even if it was just for that small time frame. All it takes is a few seconds for your child to be gone. No doubt, Mary. Appreciate you, baby. Yeah, but see, that's the thing, Commander. And see, like what you just said, Mary. Look, you didn't know that it could crush you. Yeah, it can. If you, prime example, if you're building or if you trying to do that, you burying yourself in the sand. You never supposed to bury yourself near shoreline because guess what? When the high tides come, that could be a problem right there. If the sand get too stuck, if the sand get too whatever and set, how you gonna be able to free yourself? You just gotta think about that. You know, and if you're gonna have your kids around people who are going out to have, expeditions and fun, make sure that those people are well trusted and that they well responsible enough. Because if I'm gonna allow you, or if I'm gonna place my child's safety in your hands because you want them to be a part of some event, okay, make sure my child comes back home in one piece. That is the way it's supposed to go as far as a net for the parents, right? Healing prayers to those who definitely need it, especially those right now who definitely need it. And before I do get up out of here tonight, I am going to say this again. Parents, you have to start being more visual and more aware of what's going on with your children. Can't be you can't be that neglectful when it comes to your child's safety and well-being. Should never be that way. And also healing prayers to those who need it on the health tip, whether it's mental health or physical health. Prayers to those who haven't been here recently. I know some of y'all are going through some struggles, but in the same token, guess what? We still here and we still got love and we just want the best for you. We want speedy prayers and recovery for you. I don't blame you, L Blue, because you gotta think about it. As a parent, that's what you like I said, my mom's a prime example. May she rest in peace. My mom's definitely had me swimming before I was 5. Yeah, she done took me to the pools, the beaches. Shoot, she started teaching me to swim when she realized I ran in the water and was learning how to float on my own. Uh, now it's time to start teaching you. And that's exactly what she did. The floaties, the little life tubes, all of that. Even in areas where they say you couldn't have them, she still was doing what she needed to because she was doing what was right for her baby boy. And I thank her every day for that, for teaching me how to swim, how to really float, how to go against this if I have to, how to keep myself out of certain areas, what areas to avoid, especially them sinkholes. You know, I love her every day, even when she's not here. I think about her and love her every day for that, because she ain't have to do that. And again, parents, don't leave your kids unattended, especially in the house. We just heard the situation. Child unattended, accidentally killed themselves. Child not being watched, lost their life in the pool, lost their life in the beach. Start paying attention to what you need to pay attention to. If you don't want fingers pointed, and if you don't want to bear that burden, you better really love and respect yourselves and love your kids. Raise your kids and definitely be watchful in everything that your kid is doing. Because the simplest mistake your kid make could cost them. Oh, I did, Anita, trust me. My mom's might have been hard with certain situations, like most parents are supposed to. But it gave me an instillment for life. She gave me what a well balanced parent was supposed to give me. She gave me education. She gave me love. She gave me space and opportunity to grow into my own person. But she also made sure she kept eyes on me because she know how the peer pressures in the streets are, just like the peer pressures in life are. My mom's was a shining light. And you know when you have somebody that's a figurehead when everybody and their mama came out to the funeral. Like I said, even the most gangsters of gangsters came out and they even cried because they knew my mom. My mom's was well loved and well respected because she was all about love and education, but she was also about just being real with yourself. Something that I learned from her. Be real with yourself, even when people can't stand it. So what? It's you. It's your life. One thing she always taught me, and I still stuck with it to this day: never let nobody force you into anything that you ain't comfortable with. And if it don't feel right with you, don't sit right with you, don't be a part of it. And I appreciate you, serious baby. And I appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight, and hopefully somebody did get something out of this lesson. For those who might have just been tuning in, you could catch the replay definitely. It's time for me to really start focusing on these cameras. But nonetheless, appreciate everybody that's been a part of the build, still becoming a part of the build. You still got more work to do. And this is what we're going to do. Again, parents, love yourselves and love your kids, and also make sure you're doing right by your kids. That's all I can really say for tonight. But let me get up out of here. Appreciate everybody that's been a part of this broadcast. And again, for those who might have just been coming in, rain, sleet, or snow, Thursday night, poetry night. Be ready. Definitely was a great conversation. As always, I'll definitely see some of y'all running around in these streets. And I'll definitely be back tomorrow morning, or could be tomorrow afternoon for the cipher. Always great to bring sun to the people, and that's the best I could possibly do. Bring you something that should have you thinking for the day. Parents, please start getting more on board and more involved, and start paying attention to your kids more than now. Now more than ever, please pay attention to every little aspect in their life. When you miss out on things, you'll solely mess up the foundation. But let me get up out of here. If y'all was new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout outs to the replay game. Shout out to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. For everybody that was in attendance tonight, y'all already know that love is love, and it be reciprocated as such. I don't know how to be fake. All I can do is give you real. That's all I'm going to do is give you real topics and real builds. Yeah, I'll definitely see y'all in the morning. I could be bringing some music tomorrow, definitely. Again, for those, check on my community wall. And if you ain't following me on Clapper, please make sure you're doing so. I'm going to actually try to test run that sucker tomorrow. So be prepared for it. Be prepared for it. Y'all stay safe. Keep that third eye open. And until the next live, we out of here. Peace and blessings. Diz, you late for church, baby.